Construction champions, it's your host, Ron Nussbaum, and we're here for another amazing episode of Construction Champions Podcast, where we're burning down the house so we can rebuild it. Twice a week, every Monday and Thursday, you can find us here doing amazing things. I have an awesome guest today. I'm excited for our conversation. John, it is great to have you here.
Thank you for having me.
So for all the construction champions that don't know who you are, why don't you give them a little bit of a rundown on who you are?
Well, my name's John Lenker, and I'm the founder of Lenker. And we're a management consulting company that has kind of a superpower, which is marketing and branding. And one of the markets that we work extensively with is the construction industry. We've got some really deep roots in the construction industry. We've had a number of really great experiences at different levels of the construction industry. And we've developed some insights that have helped a number of companies. And I think that's a little bit about what we'll get into today.
Sounds awesome, man. So we just like to dive right into it here. And I'm going to ask you the $1 million question. And that is, what makes a construction champion?
Well, there's so many ways to answer that. One thing I could say is that so many things go into making a construction champion. But that's kind of lame. I know that's a little bit of a cop out. So I'm gonna go with mindset. Mindset is what makes a construction champion. And let me tell you what I mean by that. I think so many people in the trades, and in our company, we deal with businesses that are, just starting out. They may be doing less than $1 million in revenue, all the way up to, we've helped businesses grow to, 14 to 20 million in revenue. And, everywhere in between, often we'll get called, hey, we're doing 3 million. We want to get to, 6 or 9. How do we get there? Right. Or, we're doing, 5 or 6. We want to get to 15, 18. What do we do? So the first thing that I feel is common among all the businesses that tend to succeed at getting to that next level, to getting to the next gear, is mindset. And basically what they're thinking about is, I want to be the market leader. I want, when people look at my competitors and my business in a lineup, I want my business to stand out. I want it to be clear that we're the market leader. Now, that may not always mean we do the most revenue. It may not always mean that we do every kind of project, but it means, for what they do, for where they're at, there's something different about that company. There's something different about the way, their professionalism, the way that they're organized, the way that they do their jobs, the attitude of the people when they show up on site. There's something different. They're a company I want to root for. And so that's, in terms of making a construction champion, that's the first thing, is just a mindset of deciding, I am going to be the best competitor for a certain set of criteria, for a certain type of job, for a certain scale of job, or a certain geographical location. I'm going to be the market leader. And I'm going to ask myself every day, what do I need to do today to get closer to being in that position of market leader? So that's my answer, mindset.
I love it. And I love the correlation to the mindset around being the market leader. I think that's something we don't think about enough. It's like being that gold standard that everybody compares everything to, whether they're making a buying decision to do work with you or they're referencing a competitor. If you're that market leader, if you're that big dog, everything's going to go through you. The homeowner is going to look at it as, hey, here's pluses and negatives of not doing business with you when you're looking at a competitor. And there's something magical about that. And like you said, you might not be the revenue leader, but to be that just golden standard of what should be in your industry where you're at, there's a power to that.
And I think, what might be interesting to follow up on this, and maybe could take up the whole episode, is to go through each aspect of a contractor's business and apply that question. How can I be the market leader when it comes to this? Right. So for example, um, we all want to say, hey, well, I'm the best, we have the best quality, we've got all this experience, et cetera, et cetera. There's the hype aspect of what we like to say about ourselves. But then there's the reality, and usually you should be able to think about specific situations that can make a difference. So let me just pick one to start, because you have to start somewhere. Um, I want to be the market leader in dealing with things well when they go wrong. When things go wrong with a client, I want to have the reputation of dealing with it in the best way. So somebody could say, wow, I had, a new driveway put in and a sidewalk last summer, and things went wrong. And I was really disappointed with the way the contractor handled it. But when you guys came in to do the pool deck for our new pool, there were some problems that came up, but I just love the way that you guys handled it when those problems came up. Man, anything that I ever do again, I'm going to use you guys for, and I'm going to tell everybody about you, because when problems come up, the way that you handle them is so much more excellent than the way that other company handled it. So that's just one example, to be the market leader in dealing with problems when they come up.
I think that right there by itself, if you're the market leader in that, I think we way underestimate what can happen when you fix problems. I used to be on the same team with a guy, like he called that the remarkable recovery. Like that to him
I
was
like that.
when the ball got dropped, like when something happened, it was his opportunity to step in, have the hard conversations, sometimes eat the crow that comes with it, because you thought it was going to go one way and it went a different way, but just be honest with the homeowner, have that conversation, get it out of the way. And he built some of his best referrer clients off of jobs that went south, but he was able to just go in and say, hey, I understand this is a shitty situation, so this happened, I thought this was going to happen, create that remarkable recovery, and then boom, they're a customer for life because you were willing to own that. So even if you're not going to be the market leader, I think there's a lot of value in just understanding that if you own something like that, it will pay dividends.
And so, it's one thing to say that, you want to be the market leader in kind of the remarkable recovery, to use your term, but to deliver on that consistently and to have it be a part of what you're known for requires planning and thought. It requires thinking ahead of time. What is the game plan going to be when things go wrong on a job? What's step one? What's step two? What's step three? Planning in advance things like, I'm going to train foremen on the job to not be defensive, right? When clients bring something to us, to have a way of saying, to responding initially to diffuse that negative energy, having all the steps, breaking it down, having a game plan, right? In any kind of sport, in football, it's football season. You've got your master game plan, but then you got sort of plans that are tucked away in case certain situations come up in the game. And then when that situation comes up in the game, you got something ready to go. You call that play, right? So that's how you deliver on being the market leader is, first of all, read books, think through your value system, go from your own experience and memory, get input from your customers, get feedback, read articles, but put together your value system around how you want to handle it, and then kind of do all the blocking and tackling, the X's and O's of how you're going to deal with it when those things happen. So that's one. Let's jump to a completely different one, right? Let's say you want to be the market leader in terms of why people believe that you offer more value than your competitors. Okay. Because now that gets into your marketing and communications, right? It gets into, you're if you stack up everybody when you go onto Google and search for, general contractor near me or whatever, and you start clicking on all the search results, there's not going to be one that comes up and says, we do the crappiest work in the industry. you know we got the most experience, we do the best, we have the best craftsmanship, all this stuff. And that's what everybody says. It's like buying a car. Every car dealership is, we offer the best price and the best customer service and the best value. So how do you game plan out differentiating yourself when everybody's saying the same thing? And what does the prospects say? They go blah blah blah. They don't even hear what you're saying, right? They're going to go based on your reviews. They're going to go based on your reputation or what the person down the street has to say about you, right? So a lot of that's important, is just reputation. But thinking through a layer of information that brings form and substance to your claims, and using words and images and videos and things like that on your website, in your emails, in any kind of brochures or whatever you leave behinds that you create, that actually gets to some very specific core values, right? So for example, if you believe that one of the keys to customer satisfaction is pre-construction and the planning that goes into pre-construction, right? So you don't end up with those things going wrong, to make those fewer and further between, is you could say, what, we are going to create the smartest planning process and use tools and techniques that bring everything into focus for our customers in a way that other people just aren't doing. And so what is that going to take? It's going to take doing a little bit of a survey. Maybe you used to work for somebody else, or you've worked for a couple of different companies, and you kind of remember how things are done. And you have kind of a history. Well, these are the good things that happen, and these are the bad things that happen. But just brainstorming around, what could I do that, if I did that thing, would make me undeniably the market leader when it comes to pre-construction, right? What is it that I could in place that, if I put that thing in place, everybody who was exposed to that process would just, this is the most incredible pre-construction stuff I've ever seen. Everything is organized. Everything, I know what's going to happen, when it's going to happen, why it's going to happen. You've helped me uncover potential problems. You've helped me make some changes to my plans based on your insights because we went through this process. Wow, that's incredible. Now you're building your reputation when it comes to that. Now you've got another point of differentiation. So when you're telling your story on your website, you're not just saying, we do the best quality work. You're saying, when it comes to doing really great quality work, pre-construction planning is so essential. You care about not just the end result, but what you had to go through to get there. Let us tell you what we've put in place to make that experience amazing for you, and then give the details, right? So that's an example of how you can get beyond that kind of, chest thumping mindset of we're the best, and kind of break down different aspects of your business and game plan out what you should do that will absolutely make you head and shoulders above your competitors, and then put the plans in place to make that happen. And you know what? You won't get it right the first time, but do another version of it, do another draft, make it better and better and better, and create a culture around that in your company, in your employees. I don't know if you want to give feedback on that, but that's another area of a business where you get into that mindset of being the market leader that I think can drastically increase your reputation.
Yeah, learning how to say the same thing differently in a way that matters to your company. Like you said, what aligns with your values as a company and that mission, being able to put that forward in a way that stands out in all the clutter. Yeah, no, that's amazing. That's definitely that mindset, and definitely a way to look at this as you start to differentiate yourself. Because I think one of the things that comes into play is, well, I'm the price leader. That's our differentiator. And when you're in construction, like there's all kinds of different things you can do to differentiate yourself from your competitors.
I mean, being the price leader is basically equal to saying, I'm in the business where I hate all my customers and all my customers hate me, right? Because when you're trying to be the lowest bid, you know, it's always the people who are focused on the lowest bid are the ones who expect the most. And so no matter how good of a job you do, the customer's always, generally speaking, going to be unsatisfied. You could have done more. And you're thinking, I'm losing money on this deal. I'm doing all this stuff. So, I think that, the best strategy is, and it, you said, say the same thing, but in a different way. Let me kind of reemphasize. I'm not just saying say the same thing in a different way. I'm saying think through what it is that would make the substance of what you do better than the competition. Think through that and then tell that story. And it'll sound different because it is different. And it is different because you took the time to think through what the other people are doing and what you could do that's better. A lot of what we do at Lenker is we spend our time working with contractors who are trying to grow their businesses and they're looking for ways to do it. And they don't have time to think through all this stuff. So we help them think through that. We do the competitive analysis. We look at how everybody's talking about themselves. We find out what the substance is. And then we draw from our experience and what really will make you a market leader in different areas. And we help put the things in place that are going to make that actually happen. I'll give you another example that's really important, but people don't think about. I mean, I just dare you, anybody listening to this podcast right now who's, a GC or, a sub of some kind, go and Google what it is your trade is and look at the results and go to your competitors' websites and try to find anything that they say on there about how they treat their employees. Find anything on there about how the quality of life of the people that work for that contractor is better because they're working for that contractor. Now you think, well, what does that have to do anything? That's not sales. That's not going to make me money. Well, wait a second. When you got a tight labor market and it's really hard to find people to work for you, do you think if you have the reputation as the market leader for being the place to work, if you're, even if you're a sub, right, and your schedule is really tight, would you rather work for a GC who just has this amazing way that they deal with everybody and they're organized and they pay on time and they actually care about the people, they care about that you make money and they tell that story? Nobody's doing that. Hardly anybody. What if you're the contractor or the subcontractor that has a place on your website that just talks about how much you care about the people working for you? And then think through, well, what are the things that I could do for my people, employees or subs? What could I do for those people that if I did that, it would undeniably make my company the place everybody would want to work? Like, why would you want to work for anybody else? If I could work for you, why would I work anywhere else? Because you do A, B, C, and D. And you thought through those things and you've created benefits for me. But it's not just the benefits. I can see that you actually care. The fact that you've thought through this, the fact that you've put information together for me as an audience, and that you're dialed into my needs, it shows me you're not just here to exploit me so you can make money off of me, but you're here to actually make sure my quality of life is good too. So it gets back, what makes that construction champion? It's a mindset to be the undeniable market leader in every aspect of my business. So thinking about it that way. Another way, again, I'm on a roll. Another audience, think about bankers, right? How many of us need bankers to believe in us and want our our financing to come through for the equipment we want to buy or whatever loan we want to get, or to extend our line of credit, right? Well, how many times do we think about how can I show up so the banker, when the banker looks at me, thinks, wow, I wish all of the people in the trades who come to me were like that company, were like that person. Man, are they organized? Man, are their financials in order? Look at that business. I never see a business plan coming from the trades the way that that company has a business plan put together. Man, and really what you're doing is you're building belief in the mind of the bankers that you're a worthwhile person to invest in. It's being a construction champion by taking the time to think through, what is that audience, even the people giving me money, loaning me money, that they believe in me. And in kind of at the end of all this, and we could talk about 5 other areas probably, from project management and having really smart infrastructure to make sure things go smoothly. But I'll talk about one thing that is completely neglected in the trades, and that's branding, right? People don't think, well, my brand is my logo. I've had I'm not changing my logo. No, a brand isn't a logo. A brand isn't just your tagline or your little slogan. A brand is what people believe about you. That's what a brand is. Your brand is the space that you occupy in the minds of your various audiences and what they believe about you. And so branding is about doing the work necessary to build a really strong impression in people's minds so that they want to say yes to you, whatever it is you're asking. Hey, come work for me. Yes, I want to. You're the best. Hey, hire us to do your project. Yes, I want to. Clearly, you're the one that I want to work with. You're the one I want to loan money to. You guys have your act together. You've got that mindset. So branding is another way. And again, these are things that at our company, we understand it's very difficult to spend the time thinking through all this. And we've met a lot of people that try. They want to go read all the books and be an expert. You don't have enough time. You don't have enough years. And, how many of us, I don't even have enough talent to do that. Right. I started this company. I've got a whole, slew of people around me with really unique talents, that every single person comes into a situation for a client, does their part, get it done quickly, get it done effectively to help make companies that are market leaders. So anyway, that's a bunch of stuff that kind of, hangs on that basic idea of mindset and deciding that you're going to be the market leader, but then not just saying it, but really game planning out every aspect of your business so that you actually can show up as the market leader and that people will believe that about you. And that is what's going to grow your brand. And that's what's going to make you actually grow your revenue and become a company that can actually reach the goals that you've set for yourself.
Awesome, man. Great stuff today. Great. I mean, that's a lot. When you talk about thinking through things, you gave guys a lot to think about. And I love that. So, John, it has been fantastic having you on the show today. If
Thanks for
anybody
having
out
me.
there wanted to reach out and connect with you, where's the best place for them to do that?
Well, I'm sure there'll be a link here with this episode. But if you go to lenker.com/construction champions, you will be able to find more information about us. That's Lenker, LEN as in Nancy, KER.com/construction champions.
Awesome, man. And once again, thank you for being on the show today.
Thank you for having me. It was a pleasure.
All right, construction champions. Another amazing episode where my biggest takeaway was, are you thinking through the story? Are you thinking through what you're saying? Or are you just putting something out there that's not thought-provoking? Because if you think through it, people are going to understand it a lot more than all the other noise that's out there. I love when John says, no one's out there saying, hey, we're the crappiest. We won't be there on time. Hey, all of our guys are going to smoke in your house. That's just what it is. Like, this isn't what you see when you go to any of this stuff. But you have to just think about what your story is and then tell your story in a way that your customers understand it So you can start to build up this reputation. John touched on it many times, is everything that we do is working on that reputation, which leads to what the customers in our geographic area think of us and what do people say. So everything that you do in every aspect of your business is an opportunity to be the market leader and to set that reputation. And you can sit there and say, oh, we have a shitty reputation because of this or that. But every customer you touch is an opportunity to change that reputation, to start swinging the pivot back your way. But you have to be willing to do that. You just can't accept, like, this is the story we've always said. Think through that and tell the story you want to tell today. So, construction champions, until next time, be the champion you were meant to be. Hey, construction champions, it's your host, Ron Nussbaum here, and I want to talk to you about how you can automate all of your marketing. We've had so many people on here talk about getting the systems in place. Well, we have partnered with Build 12 and Construction Champions podcast. Les O'Hara, the founder, what really excites me is his 30 years in the industry. And now he's built a system to be able to nurture your leads and continue to utilize that. I personally use the system myself. Build 12 is absolutely amazing. There's a lot of value in there, and it's a way to start getting away from Angie's List and all of that kind of stuff and start actually creating your own leads every day and have a system for them. So go on our website, check out the show notes, go check out Build 12 and what it can do for the front end of your business today. It's absolutely amazing. I highly recommend going and meeting with Les and his son, Devin, and talking to him about what they built for their own business so the rest of the industry can take benefit from that. Here on Construction Champions, we're all about helping each other out. And what is better than contractors helping contractors? I say nothing. So let's go take this to the next level. Go check out Build 12. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me or Les or his son, Devin. We're here to help. We want to continue to grow the industry.